CNBC-TV18, celebrating 70 years of business leadership.
Hello and welcome to the CNBC-TV18 special. We are celebrating our 17th anniversary today, and so we have a special lineup of our guests. Joining us now is the Finance Secretary, Mr. Lavasa. Mr. Lavasa, thank you very much for joining us here as we celebrate our 17th birthday here at CNBC-TV18. So let me start by asking you about what you made of the commentary that's come in from the Reserve Bank of India and the Monetary Policy Committee. Against expectations of at least a 25 basis point cut, the Reserve Bank has announced a status quo policy. The expectation from North Block was that there is enough room for a rate cut. Do you believe that this is going to disappoint the markets in the short term?
Well, first of all, let me wish CNBC a very happy birthday. I'm sure that the channel will continue to do very incisive analysis of the economic environment not only in India but the world, and continue to give a very objective assessment to the people who are keen observers and all those who are affected by economic trends in the country. So let me wish you many happy returns of the day. You turn sweet 16 or you cross sweet 16?
We've crossed 16, sir. This is our 17th year.
Announcement by the Reserve. Wonderful, wonderful. So, as far as the Reserve Bank announcement is concerned, I think the Reserve Bank has taken a very studied stance, and they have taken into account various factors which they think are transient in the economy, and perhaps they have not been persuaded by the expectations that people had. Now, the range of expectations was quite clearly very different. People had a huge range of expectations about the rate cut. Also, some of the global trends about the rising oil prices and the fact that there is likely to be a change in the US government and the policies there might have also played a role in influencing the decision of the Reserve Bank of India.
You're talking about the external factors, but let me just focus on the domestic factors, Mr. Lavasa, and talk to you about what the Reserve Bank says as far as the domestic situation is concerned. The Reserve Bank says that manufacturing has slowed down both sequentially and on an annual basis with weak demand conditions. Also, it says that gross fixed capital formation has contracted for the third consecutive quarter. The picture that is being painted, and this is even prior to the full impact of demonetization, is that the economy doesn't seem to be in fine fettle. Do you believe that because of demonetization the pain is only going to be exacerbated? Do you see that continuing through Q3 and Q4?
I think if you look at the demonetization that has taken place, or the invalidation of the currency, whatever you might like to call it, the full assessment of its impact is yet to be made. We are 30 days into this process, and perhaps one factor which is persuading everybody is the excess liquidity with the banks. What are the banks going to do with this liquidity? What will be the policy announcement from the bank which will accelerate the process of credit offtake? I think this was the single consideration that everybody had in mind. But this process, I think, has to be seen in varying perspectives. One is a short-term perspective, which everybody is engaged with right now. And I do agree that the economy as it stands, there is a requirement for giving demand push. Government, from its own expenditure management point of view, I think has been providing that push in a big way. But it was expected that the trend of reduction which was started in the last policy announcement, perhaps people thought that this is a trend which is likely to continue. And the demonetization gave a fillip to such expectations.
Okay.
But I think that Reserve Bank, we don't understand the full logic of their decision, but from whatever statement has been released, they have not been overly persuaded by the temporary phenomena of demonetization.
Okay. Sir, you were talking about the economy needing a demand push. Let me also ask you about what's transpired in Parliament today with the government tabling the supplementary demand for grants of about 35,000 crore rupees. Now, what should we expect then in terms of the pump priming, which everyone's talking about, or the stimulus from government expenditure that is being expected and anticipated ahead of the budget and perhaps in the next budget as well?
In fact, if you look at the trend of expenditure this year, you will find that on the plan side, for example, which represents development expenditure, we have already incurred 62% of the budgeted estimates, which is very good going in comparison to last year. Because last year at this point in time, we were less than 58%. The total increase in the plan spending is over 70,000 crores. Similarly, on the non-plan expenditure side, we are pretty much the same level as we were in terms of percentage, although there has been an increase in the expenditure, non-plan expenditure, on account of the impact of the 7th Pay Commission. So, in terms of expenditure, till the end of October, overall the expenditure is 60% of the budget estimate, which is very healthy. And if you further analyze this expenditure, you will find that across various sectors, whether those sectors are rural development, social welfare, education, health, these are the sectors. Apart from infrastructure sectors like telecom, power, in these sectors there has been a lot of spending, including the road sector. So government has been trying to push economic activity through incurring additional expenditure. The effort in the supplementaries which have been presented is to continue that process. Wherever the sectors or the departments felt a greater need for enhancing their expenditure, we have tried and provided that supplementary budgetary allocation to them. And this has also been keeping in view the buoyancy in the revenue which we have witnessed so far. If you look at either the tax receipts or the non-tax receipts, they are much better than last year. Especially if you look at the tax receipts, whether it is direct taxes or indirect taxes, or the entire range of taxes have shown a considerable increase over last year. I think the increase is of the order of 24% so far. So this is what we kept in mind along with the demands of various ministries when we presented the supplementaries.
Mr. Lavasa, what kind of fiscal space will you have, sir? Because, there's been a lot of talk about this possibility of a bonanza coming in from the Reserve Bank of India. But if one goes by the comments that have come in from Mr. Patel today, the RBI governor, at least as of now, it doesn't seem to be as simple as extinguishing of liabilities and passing that on to the government by way of a dividend. So in that scenario then, what kind of fiscal space, what kind of fiscal cushion does the government enjoy? And I would also like to ask you about the FRBM committee that was set up and this business of whether there should be some flexibility when it comes to the fiscal deficit target itself. Will that provide you some room, some space, if the fiscal deficit target were to be more flexible and within a range?
Well, let me make one thing very clear, that the supplementaries, budgetary allocations, the revised estimates, all of them have been prepared keeping in view the income or the receipts which the government has budgeted and what we are expecting. So far, we have not taken into account any of the other factors that you just mentioned, whether it is the FRBM report or it is the effect of the disclosure scheme or the effect of demonetization, because it is too early for anybody to exactly predict what the benefit to the government exchequer is going to be by this. So whatever be that benefit will be kept in view when we plan any additional expenditure henceforth after the process has been completed, and there is greater clarity on what will come to the government coffers, what will go to the banks. All these factors are still to be ascertained. So as of now, the expenditure planning has been done keeping in view the budgetary estimates that were initially presented to the Parliament and the performance on the revenue side, revenue receipt side so far.
Okay. Let me then talk to you about what we can expect.
As far as the FRBM committee.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, as far as the FRBM committee is concerned, yes, there is the committee which is expected to furnish its reports very soon. They've had wide-ranging consultations, and I think they should be in the process of finalizing their report and giving it to us. What is contained in the report will only be known after they have given the report. So the current year's income, expenditure, fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, I think they are all not being affected by whatever may be the contents of that report.
Okay. Let me then ask you about another possible fiscal cushion, sir, and that has to do with this business of strategic divestment, because the Niti Aayog has put together a list of companies that they have shortlisted. There is cabinet approval that has come in for the process of strategic divestment itself. Is this going to be a big place in Budget 2017?
Well, the revenues which were expected from disinvestment were of the order of 56,000 crores. So far, I don't remember the exact number, but I think about 25,000 crores have been already received, or close to that number. The Department of Disinvestment, they have a roadmap, they have a plan on how to go about achieving the target which has been given to them, and this does constitute an important policy initiative of the government. It constitutes an important component of our budget, and there is a certain strategy which is being followed in consultation with the Niti Aayog, which is being operationalized by the Department of Public Investment. So we are quite hopeful that what was projected in the budget, we will reach pretty close to that.
So you believe that you could get close to that 56,000 crore rupee number as far as the disinvestment revenue is concerned?
Well, the reason why I'm saying this is that what has been already achieved perhaps is the highest ever at this point in time of the year. So I have no reasons to doubt the ability of the disinvestment process.
CNBC-TV18, celebrating 17 years of business leadership.